Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are reviewing the Dracula, the tier 7 medium tank that is very infamous for its ramming capabilities. We're going to be looking at, is it still as overpowered as it used to be, has it been power crept, and etc. But before we get into the video, guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It's free, it takes one click, and you can always unsubscribe later. Let's jump right into it. So, moving into the statistics, this is what I have for equipment. I don't have all of it because I am poor, and actually I would advise running a little bit more ammo. We'll get into that later, because when you go to the tank, you have 1325 HP, which is pretty good for a tier 7 medium. Actually, that's on the healthy side. You do absolutely have no armor, but you do have these skirts on the side, basically, that will protect you from HEs on the side of the tank, unless they hit this little strip right there. But other than that, you are completely, paper on the entire tank. Your DPM is pretty low at 2,138. Reload 6.32 seconds. DPM is not quite as good as most other tier 7 mediums, light tanks, etc. And the AP pin is not the best, but it's for most tier 7 mediums. Your APCR pin, though, is quite good at 237 millimeters, and your high explosive has 45. You have your average 225 alpha gun, 190, 270. Your aim time is 4.0 seconds, and you have 0.353 dispersion. So overall, concerning the gun, it's not the most DPM, and not the most pin, and not the most accurate. So it's a pretty average to mediocre gun. But the tank does well than make up for it in other categories. You have 10 degrees of gun depression, and you have 65 kilometers an hour for its max speed. And the great thing about this tank is the weight. You are 33.35 tons, and you have that very good horsepower and stuff in the engine, so you can ram very, very well. This tank is mainly known for its ramming capability. Any tier 6 tank and a lot of tier 7s, even some tier 8s, are very, very susceptible to your rams. So we're just going to be looking at this, and the reason why I think this tank has actually been power crept and no longer is OP and is just a fun, strong tank. Now, the best way to play this tank is probably in a double Drac platoon. That is just the most fun thing you can probably do in Blitz. See on the AP pin, even with the premium, I mean, KV5, no chance with. You'll see later in this match, I chose this one, while it's not the best game, it shows what the weakness of the tank is against tier 8s and heavily armored tanks. But we get a very fortunate bounce from that Tiger 2, and we're just going to run away here because there's no chance I can defeat all these enemies. But the reason, so some of the newer, other tanks at tier 7 that are probably better than this, I mean, you got the Smasher, you've got, the Gravedigger's good, you've got, like, the Type 62, you got, there's not too many tier 7s that are super overpowered. I mean, you've got the Hellsink, but a lot of tier 8, very overpowered tier 8s, and when you get in a tier 8 match, or heavily armored, it's really hard to do anything. As well, this tank is it's just so fast, and, the power to weight ratio, that you just want to YOLO, and it's really hard to not YOLO, which makes the tank actually, a lot of the times you do pretty bad in it because you just want to YOLO. But as you can see, your penetration on AP against this KV5, nothing we can do. Nothing. We can't even pin his, we can't barely pin his rear there, and I can't even get to it. So we are just going to do the pramo, but that's why you really need to carry a lot more pramo than I have. If my team had not been here, I would have been toast. But that is what I think the main weakness of the tank is the gun. If the gun was better, the tank would probably remain with its title as the most overpowered tier 7, besides maybe the Smasher still, because the Smasher is ridiculous. But, the tank's still good, don't get me wrong at all. And, your playstyle, what you want to do, just play very aggressive. You want to play aggressive, go for those rams, maximize your damage with the rams, try to go for those weak, smaller tanks, and they're always going to be very, very easy to ram, and that's really how you're going to do your best. Try not to mess with any heavies that are tier 8, because you really they're just too hard to penetrate. They're really hard to penetrate. And I mean, as you can see in this game, I showed it because it shows you don't want to mess with tier 8 heavies like the KV5 because of their amount of armor. Stuff like Tiger 2, I mean, that's not bad because the side is so weak. But like any ISs, they're really hard to penetrate. So, I mean, that was an okay battle there. The next one will be a little bit better, but that's kind of why I think the Dracula is not as overpowered as it used to be. It's just from power creep. I mean, the tank's just been power crept a lot is what I think it has been. And we're just going to have one more quick battle here where I'm in platooning. I actually did this just literally like 10 minutes ago. And so, lost my train of thought, of course. Going brain dead, quarantine, I guess. But we're going Oasis Palms in this one. We are going to be bottom tier again, but this match will be better. I just wanted to show that last one because it showed how weak the tank is against heavies, tier 8 heavies. So right off the bat, we do spot the Dracula does get spotted and absolutely demolished by our team. We're going to not be able to get a shot right here, so we're just going to try to push ahead. We do get a shot on that Dracula right there, though, but the Dracula is basically gone now. I do spot this SU 130 PM, so I'm telling my teammate right now, because we're in voice chat, I'm going to go for the SU. He said he'll cover me, so I'm just going for kind of a YOLO on this SU, but I do kind of mess it up here, and I didn't want to get shot, but I just go for the side. But we're going to get some HDs, and this is the strong point of the tank. I'm showing this one because this shows how strong the tank is when you push aggressive in it. And when you push aggressive in a platoon, the tank performs phenomenal. And that's why I think the tank is still a great tank, because whenever you push aggressive, the tank can be one of the best in the game. But just want to address the kind of issue of a power creep. There are a lot of tanks that used to be overpowered and are now power crept. Like the SP1C, that used to be power crept. The spin power crept, believe it or not, that tank actually used to be OP. Stuff like the IS-3, a lot of Soviet heavies have been power crept from all the premium ones that have come into the game and are no longer dominant in the game. Stuff like the IS-3 Defender. So many tanks have been power crept now by these newer premiums. So just want to talk about that a little in this video here. But Dracula is a great tank. Still, it's probably past its prime. But if you get the chance at like the Blitz Fair to pick up this tank, do not hesitate. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you next time. Bye.